First major policy area is going to be crime, and Terry McLeod from CBC Radio will take it from here.
As we all know, Winnipeg has a crime problem, particularly a violent crime problem. Not all over the city. You can almost track crime in the city by postal codes now. Some parts of the city feel very safe, others not at all. But here are the headlines. The most recent StatsCan figures from July 20th this year for the year 2009 places us at the top of the violent crime index. The national average for Canadian cities of more than 100,000 people, 93.7. That actually dropped 1%. Winnipeg's index exactly twice the national average, 187, up 15% in 1 year. By contrast, Calgary, our traditional rival, at 84.8. Quebec City, another rival, at half of that, 49.2. Even so-called crime-ridden Montreal, 102.7. Winnipeg, though, at 187. I have questions for both of you, somewhat different questions. Sam Katz, to you first. You've been in office for 6 years. Under your watch, Winnipeg has reached the top of the violent crime index. What reason do we have to believe that, based on your record, you're up to the job?
Well, let's just look at facts, because I think facts speak loudest. Number one, you forgot to mention that Winnipeg was the stolen auto theft capital of Canada, so I'll mention it for you. Nothing we should be proud of, ladies and gentlemen, but it was a fact. Guess what? We addressed that fact with the Auto Theft Suppression Unit. We gave them the tools that they needed, because they knew that 90% of the crime was committed by 10% of the people. After giving them the tools, guess what? Auto theft dropped by 74% under my leadership.
So if you
now, wouldn't it be nice if we did the same thing with crime?
Why haven't you addressed the issue of violent crime as effectively?
And that's exactly what we're doing right now. I mentioned to you in my earlier speech what we've done to date, and my announcement was to add 58 police officers, 20 walking the beat where there's crime, because when I was growing up, they walked the beat, there was no crime. 20 more to go after the gangs. The gangs are a big problem, and they basically prey on the juveniles because of the Youth Criminal Justice Act and the revolving door of justice. And another 18 for the patrol cars. That's exactly what the plan is, specific, laid out, and basically endorsed by the men and women who risk their lives on a daily basis to protect the citizens.
Judy Wasylycia-Leis, I was looking at your list of achievements on your website, and you helped to ban harmful chemicals in baby bottles, protect neighborhoods from bank closures, strengthen the protection of newborns. Why should we believe that you have the experience and the skills to create and lead an urgent crime reduction initiative in the most violent city in Canada?
Thanks, Terry. We start by recognizing that Winnipeg has, as you mentioned, the highest violent crime rate in this country, and we're going in the wrong direction. Other cities have managed to actually bring those numbers down by approaching crime from the point of view of a comprehensive plan that addresses the roots of crime and has crime prevention strategy at its core, the question of policing on our streets, and the question of protection and law and order. For 6 years, this city has not had a plan unlike other cities such as Edmonton, which has introduced a major strategy that has actually set goals and timetables, and it is resulting in reduced crime. I put a clear plan on the table. It's based on experience, it's based on other cities, it's based on what Winnipeggers are telling me.
And what are the components of that strategy?
Well, it's, number one, we start with do what Edmonton did. We agree that we're going to have a comprehensive strategy, and we're going to bring the players to the table and create that.
But so often the answer to your... You answer questions with strategy.
Well, no.
You tell us, I'm going to have a strategy.
Well, in fact, that's part of the problem in Winnipeg. We don't have a plan, and we need to get a plan. And part of that plan is getting at the roots of crime. And I've put, and Dan, you should take note of this, I've put 5 very specific proposals on the table dealing with crime prevention. Number one, support for community centers so that they're open in the evenings. Number 2, support for ex-gang members to get jobs in the community. Number 3, supports for community.
Judy, I'm going to have to ask you to stop right now.
All right. Okay. I got a supplementary though.
Yeah, well, for sure. We're moving on now though. Yeah, okay. Our second area with Jeff Keel is going to deal with everybody's favorite topic, infrastructure.
This is for both candidates. We've heard about Winnipeg's multi-billion-dollar infrastructure deficit for years, but it seems that during this campaign, the controversy has been over projects that are actually being built or that have been built. And especially in the River Heights area, many residents feel that there hasn't been proper consultation on bike paths, calming circles, and specifically this barricade on Harrow Street if elected or re-elected. Would you cancel any of these projects, rip them up, and if you would, what would you replace them with? Sam.
First of all, let's get something very straight. Active transportation is a good thing. Winnipeg was way behind the rest of Canada. We've been catching up, and we've had some Northeast Pioneers Trails, one of the greatest routes in the city of Winnipeg, used on a regular basis, and there's many more. In this particular situation, all three levels of government came to the table, and we approved the funding in our capital budget, City of Winnipeg. Then basically they go out with the details, they go to the community committees, and they basically assess them. And there have been some definite problems, most of them isolated in one community committee. You happen to have mentioned it, whereas others have been much easier accepted and adopted. First of all, we have made some changes. If people are not being informed and they're not told about certain situations, the CAO now, who's the person in charge, has talked to people, one in the downtown and as well as on Assiniboine. They've made changes, and I believe as well on Sherbrooke. So I can tell you, last night I was out knocking on doors and we came across the one on Academy just off Wellington Crescent, and I had an earful as well there. The key thing is the details. You've got to look at the details, make sure that the public is aware of exactly what's going on, make sure you get their input, make sure you as a councillor read it, accept it.
But
If you want to change it, you change it.
they're not going anywhere, which is what my question is.
Well, today they're not going anywhere. If you ask me, could it change later on? It certainly is possible, but I can tell you three have changed.
Later on?
Well, three have changed today, Jeff.
But
Three specifics.
okay,
Sorry,
but
I'm
actually,
going to have to ask you to move to your next question.
okay, it's the same one for the
Thank you.
other candidates right now.
Good question. In fact, this is a matter of great concern for all Winnipeggers because we believe in active transportation. And Winnipeggers want to see a bike paths that link the city from one end to the other. They want to see walking trails. They want to do their part in terms of reducing our carbon footprint, and very concerned about the way in which the city has managed this project. And I'm not going to stand here and promise to rip up any of this work that's already been done and reverse what's been started. But I am making a commitment to say, as mayor of the city of Winnipeg, I will take full responsibility for plans that are introduced and ensure that there's proper follow through, and people, and I will not blame others for mistakes made. I will not blame city councillors. I will not blame civil servants. I will ensure full responsibility and learn from any mistakes made. In this case, there are ample lessons to be learned about how to consult with people, how to in fact hear people's concerns, and in fact my first order of business after being elected mayor will be to sit down in community meetings with those concerned neighborhoods about the problems they see, any safety concerns they've raised, and address the flow of traffic and make adjustments accordingly.
Yeah, again, for both candidates, specifically though, on this barricade, both candidates in the area seem to be wanting to tear that barricade at Harrow and Academy out of there where those lights are going.